Hi everybody, Kevin Rader here for Rader Media and Marketing, and it's my pleasure today to be sitting here with Sheriff John Plasse, Vigo County. Sheriff, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
That's a question I bet you hear a lot these days.
I do, and it's nice that people ask, but I'm doing better. I'm over halfway through my treatment. We got 5 more chemo infusions to go, so I'm on the downhill slide of that. So it's taken its toll, but it's people that have done it before kind of know what it's like to go through that. It's kind of like a roller coaster, and right now I'm starting to go up a little bit on the coaster. So
I should say, for those of you who don't know, because I didn't say it, you are under treatment for pancreatic cancer.
Yes, sir.
And you have been for how long now?
I started actually my first treatment at the end of April. Found out in March that I had cancer in the pancreas, but it was stage 1B, so thank God it was caught early. I'm very blessed.
What if somebody says, is he going to be able to do his job?
Well, you see I'm here today, and there are days that I can't. There are days when I go in for chemo at the VA that I can't do anything. My wife takes me there and brings me home because it's not a pleasant experience. But then once I start to recover, then I come back in here and you see I've got stuff I've still got to do, get caught up on some things, but I do come in here when I'm able to, and I still do the job that I'm elected to do.
And you believe you'll come out on the other side of this?
Absolutely. And my oncology team is very confident that we'll have a full recovery. And the thing with chemo, it makes you look like I look. It makes you look like you're sick, and they've told me that what chemo does, it brings you as close to death as we can to try to kill the cancer, and then we build you back up afterwards. So that's why I look the way I look. But because I look this way, it still doesn't mean I can't function as a sheriff and do the job, and that's why I'm here.
And you've been doing the job, not just this job, but a lot of jobs for a lot of years. Tell me your definition of service, because as I look back over your life, that's what I see.
It's just to serve your community, to provide a service. I guess in my particular job, to serve and protect, to protect this community and protect this country. I was in the Army, deployed twice to Afghanistan and once to Guantanamo Bay, and it was just an honor to serve. And I feel the same way now, back home and doing the job as a sheriff as opposed to when I was with the city police. And it's just, I think it's a calling. It's just something I really enjoy doing, and I really feel honored to be able to do it and blessed, because not everybody gets to do this job.
And yet each one of them is dangerous.
It can be, but you can't dwell on the negatives. I've found myself to not do that. You look at, there's usually a positive in everything. Even with what I'm fighting now with cancer, there's a positive that was caught early, and I've got a chance to fight it, and not everybody has that. So yes, we've got a lot of dangerous situations in our job. When I was the chief of Terre Haute City Police, I lost 2 officers when I was chief, and Rob Pitts, I wear a band for him, and Brent Long, I wear a band for him, and I'll never forget those guys. I'll never take these off as long as I live, because those were my guys that were lost when I was the chief under my watch. And then just recently we lost Greg Ferenczi, that I worked with his whole career at the Terre Haute Police Department, and we've had 10 in Terre Haute killed in the line of duty. 3 in the last 10 years, and that's really a pretty significant bad streak. And our community's been hit pretty hard that way, but this community always comes out and shows support for us, and that's part of the reason why I love doing this job. We have so much support, and we have some that don't like it, so I get that. But the majority of this community, and not just law enforcement, but anybody that has a need, somebody's fighting cancer, or somebody's got issues that they're working through. We had the flood in 2008. This community just comes up big time and supports the people of this community. And when I was deployed, I received a lot of care packages, and not everybody received the same amount. And I was always one to share those, because I think the younger people, I'm old when I got deployed. A lot of them were, just kids, and I know how it made me feel to get that. I know just sharing that with them, to see the delight on their faces when they were able to get some things from back home, it just really made it worthwhile, I think, for them being there, that they know that people are thinking about them.
Usually after serving one term, somebody who's an incumbent will think that I have some unfinished business in this department or
Yes,
in
sir.
this community. What's yours?
The one thing I want to do here, the major thing, is to get this department accredited. Not many sheriff's offices in Indiana are accredited. You go through the state accreditation agency. I know the Terrell Police Department, when I was chief, we got accredited through them. ISU Police is accredited. Again, there's only a few sheriff's offices in Indiana that are that way. And basically, you have a policy for everything. So you don't just kind of haphazardly do things and do them how you want to do it. There's a policy that covers the way you should do things. It makes you a more professional agency, and that's my goal, to do that in the second term. Starting a new job, there's just so many different things to learn and to grasp and to look at and change if it needs changed. And a good part of that, my first term, was doing that. And I haven't had time really to start the accreditation process, but that's my number one goal. We did add 2 officers, 2 deputies to the road. We sought out a grant and were approved for 7 new deputies, but the council only approved 2. The reason I think for that is the salaries are only guaranteed for 3 years, and then the county will have to pay those salaries afterwards, and that's a pretty significant chunk of money. So they approved 2, so we have 2 more officers out here on the street protecting our community. And we didn't put anybody in an administrative position. We added those guys directly to the road, so we have more coverage and more protection for our county.
This kind of leads me, I think, to my last question. Is it, after your term here, do you feel like this county is safer
I do.
because you've been here?
I do. I think, all along, when I first got hired in 1985, I didn't have aspirations to be the chief, aspirations to be the sheriff. But once you get in that job and you get promoted through the ranks, the opportunity came, and I was the chief for 11 years in Terre Haute. And my main goal there was to make our city safer. And we increased people on the road. We increased programs to make it safe. We had neighborhood watches, working with the community, because especially with the sheriff's office, we only have 42 deputies, and we have a county of 108,000 people. If we're not working with our community, if we're not in touch with our community, we can't do our job. If they don't support us, but they do. When we have, like, Crime Stoppers, for example, we put someone on the internet that, hey, we're looking for this person, we don't know who they are. We get so many responses to help us do our job, and without that, we would be very ineffective. But I'm proud to say that we have a great relationship with our community, and together working, all of us, it's made our community safer.
Why should you be reelected, Sheriff?
I think my record speaks for itself. I've done the things I think I need to do to make this community safer. I am dedicated. I come into the job. I just didn't get elected to not come in, and I kind of do the same thing I did when I was the chief of police. I'd work on the same kind of a schedule I did then, because elected officials, they say you don't have to be in office very much, but how can you be effective if you're not? So I made it a point to do that, and I'll do that in my second term. But I think by adding 2 more deputies and just trying to reach out and work with the community, I think we've made our community safer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.